Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I don't typically talk about stuff. I tend to internalize everything, and that's where a lot of my problems stem from. I want to give a little disclaimer that this video is going to get into some serious topics. I don't want anybody that is not in a good headspace to watch this. I urge you not to. Whew, this is gonna be rough. So, in order to tell my story, I need to go into my childhood. I have a lot of trauma. When I was 3 years old, my dad was home, and I'm gonna try to get through this without crying. My dad was home, and I remember I was in my room playing, and like I had a little art table, and I think I was like drawing or something. And I don't remember exactly like what happened, but I remember my dad saying, "You have to call 911." And I didn't understand, because at 3 years old, who really understands like what call 911, what are you talking about? I had to get up on a chair because my dad was sitting like, I don't know how to describe it. It was like our kitchen was, I'm 31, so I was like born in the 90s. So you had a phone on the wall with a cord. And so I had to get up on a high chair, like one of the chairs from the dining room, and I had to get up. And I remember my dad sitting like in this like recliner chair type thing. I don't know what you would call it, but it like swiveled. And he was sitting there like this. Like I have that vision in my head, and he said, "Call 911." And I didn't know even how to use the phone, so he had to tell me step by step what I had to do. And at 3 years old, that is extremely traumatic for a child to do. I had to say, "My dad's having a heart attack. Please hurry." And the second that I hung up the phone, like I was so crippling afraid. And I remember going into my parents' room, and I was sitting, like my parents had a queen size bed, I think it was, but it was kind of like in front of the window. I remember sitting on the bed and like peeking out the window, waiting for like the ambulance to come. And the second that they did, that I saw them pull up, I like ran in my room and I hid under my art table. I was literally terrified. That experience caused me to have extreme anxiety. I was 9 years old. Unfortunately, he waited too long for his health to improve and didn't make his health a priority. He continued to smoke because he was a very heavy smoker. I had broke my arm. This is in this time period of age 9. So I had broke my elbow, and I had like strep throat or something, and I had to go stay at my grandma's house and spend the night. And at that point, my mom had kicked my dad out of the house because my dad had quite a temper, and he hit both of us pretty bad. And my mom said she had enough, and she kicked him out. And at that time, my grandma had broke her leg, so she was like, "Well, this is the perfect time. You can get the fuck out." And peace, pretty much. My dad was living at her house at that point, and my grandma's house, and they had a really heated argument. And I remember sitting there, and I was like, it was bad. But my dad was so sick at that point. I think he like literally was like, "I gotta do something, like quick." There was a VA hospital in West Palm Beach, so he took it upon himself to go check himself in. I think he was there for like 2 weeks. And I remember getting a phone call. He called the house, and it was like probably 6 or 7 o'clock at night. Like, you don't forget these type of things. And he called, and I remember him calling and saying, that he was gonna come home, and he was not gonna come home until he was better, so that he could be a good father. He wanted to be in better health, so he said, "I will be home soon." And he said he loved me. And then obviously he talked to my mom. I was at school, And my mom was a teacher at the school that I went to, and it was after school, so she was doing like some afternoon things to get ready for the next day. And I remember over the intercom, they said, you needed to come to the office. We have an emergency or something. And my mom went to the office and she told the teacher next door to watch me and to keep me busy. And I think maybe like a half hour later, I had to walk to the office with the lady next door from the other classroom that I was staying with. And the office was dead silent. Like, and this place is bumping all the time. And everybody was in the principal's office. And they're all around my mom. And like, you could hear a pin drop. It was so quiet. And my mom was sitting at the desk, and everybody's like holding on to my mom, and I look at her, and I didn't even have to like to hear her say that your dad's gone. And I like totally lost it. I'm really sorry. This is like extremely hard to talk about. Obviously, after that, my mom had to make funeral arrangements, and I don't think I really grasped like that he was gone until we had to go make the arrangements at the funeral home. We didn't see him that day. I don't really remember what happened after that, but the day of the funeral, or the visit, what do you call it, a viewing or whatever, we went to the funeral home, and I don't remember if it was like before everybody came in or whatever, but I had written a note to my dad because at 9 years old, who really thinks like you're not ever prepared for that? Like, if you are a 9-year-old and you can, I know everybody deals with shit differently, I get it, but I did not grasp the scenario that he was like literally gone. So I wrote a note. I couldn't tell you what it said. I do not remember. But probably along the lines of like, you know, Daddy, I hope you're okay. Or, you're not hurting anymore. So, when we went to the I can't say it. It's like the, viewing. Sorry, I don't know why I say visitation. Went to the viewing, and we walked up to the casket, and I didn't understand who was in there, because he didn't look the same, and I like will never get that image out of my head. And I like put the note in his hands, and they were cold. And at that point, like, I had to walk away. And I tried so hard to be strong and not cry or anything. And my grandma comes in and she loses it. Like, we went to the graveyard and did the whole, you know, thing. And I just went down, like, not good place. And for a long time, I blamed myself because I used to say to my dad all the time, like, I don't want you to die. Like, you need to be at my wedding. You need to walk me down the aisle. And he would always say, I promise, I promise, I promise. And I mean, I know, like, life happens and it's out of your control, but for a long time, I blamed myself because I was like, maybe I said that too much, and then it finally happened. And I wasn't okay after that. I don't think I'll ever be okay. Because, like, that whole has, like, really changed who I am. Like, I'm married, obviously, and I didn't get to have my dad at my wedding. And I know it's selfish to, like, want him still here, but if he had been here, I don't know what condition he would have been in, and that's selfish. I wouldn't want him to suffer. I wouldn't want him to be in pain. And death is part of life, unfortunately. I mean, I went down a very, very, very bad road of extreme depression. Like, fast forward to when I was in middle school, like, I think my 5th grade year, I, like, did not do well in school. I would lash out in anger. I was bad. I didn't give a fuck. Excuse my language, I did not. And one day, I don't know what caused it, me and my mom would go at it, because for a long time, I was so angry at her for kicking him out, because while it wasn't okay that he hit both of us, like, that was time that I could have gotten extra with my dad, and, like, I forgive her for that, and I know that's, you know, a decision that she made, but for a long time, I was angry. And so I was just done, like, with everything. And I don't know, I came home from school one day and I had come home and we and her got in a big fight. And I don't remember what it was, but we lived in a condo. And, like, this is the part where I just want to forewarn you, like, please stop watching if you are easily triggered, because, yeah, just please don't. We had gotten into a really bad fight. I went outside after our argument and I started to walk over the balcony and I was hanging off of it, didn't give a fuck. And I guess my mom may have looked out the window or something, but she literally ran out of the apartment and grabbed me. It's just like, if you're going to go, I'm going to go, and neither of us are going to go. So she literally pulled me up and saved my life that day, because I wouldn't be here. So my mom threw me into a group counseling, which actually did help. We moved to Port St. Lucie because my mom built a house. I'm originally from Florida. I don't think I even put that in there. So I was living in, like, Boca Raton, if you're familiar with that area. I didn't want to move. Nope, didn't want to move. Had all my friends from school that I had been with from kindergarten. When we did move, I get thrown into a school where I know nobody. And that's when some other stuff went down. But I'm going to actually stop the video here because this is already at 31 minutes.